Whoa. Today is insulation day. We're making this 200 square foot cabin snug and warm.
Winter is coming.
Havelock Wool is one of the only sheep's wool insulation providers here in the States. This wool is popular for insulating tiny homes, cabins, RVs, camper vans. It is the most non-toxic insulation you can possibly use and one of the most sustainable types of insulation.
So my biggest question is, I guess, when it comes to wool is, why wool?
Why wool? All right, so for starters, we didn't have to wear protective gear to install this.
Every time I've ever seen photos, they're always wearing a full hazmat suit and whatnot.
Hazmat suit.
Right. Is it toxic when they're spraying it, but afterwards, once it's all ready to go and it's sealed up, it's safe?
What do you think?
Probably not.
There's a term for it, off-gassing.
Off-gassing.
The more I've read about our health, products and companies and building materials, foods, nothing is like so toxic it'll kill you in a day or two.
Yeah.
But so many of these products that are synthetic kill you just a little bit, month after month after month.
And they all
add up. Exactly. So it's like death by 1,000 cuts. Let's say we're done with this shed one day. Let's say we've used it for 30 or 40 years and it's served an amazing purpose. Super affordable. The wood on the inside, even the wood on the outside, now I don't know what's in the paint, but this wool is compostable. This whole thing can go back to the earth. We can grow more grass to feed more sheep and grow more wool.
Yeah.
That's a circular loop.
That is pretty awesome.
Can you do that with fiberglass?
No.
Foam?
No.
Rock wool?
Definitely not.
No.
So we've got a bat of Havelock wool insulation here. This side on the back seems to be less fluffy and just more of a continuous mat. And then this side here has got all the fluff going on. We've got these 16-inch wide pieces. It's about 3 feet long, 4 feet long or so. So we'll begin putting these up and then stapling them in place. The first staple. We staple the top so that the whole bat doesn't slide down or the bat doesn't peel over like a fish mouth. It just helps anchor things. With the online video, we saw that people were using an insulation knife to cut the insulation. So we were like, hey, it looks like a steak knife or a bread knife. So we got ours to try to avoid buying an extra tool. It works, but it would take us about 3 or 4 minutes to make every single cut.
It's gonna take us like 3 years to get this done.
So we're gonna run to Ace Hardware, pick up a pair of shears and an insulation knife because this bad boy belongs in the kitchen and is not rated for cutting sheep's wool. Then do you see the insulation knives? Got more staples. We need those for the insulation. Hopefully these Fisker scissors will do the trick, and we've got some more staples as well.
And the price is really not that much more.
Yeah.
It's really not. Like fiberglass can cost between 60 cents on the low end to $1.50 or more.
Okay.
The wool can cost $1.20 to $1.50 up to $2.25 for the same square foot.
So it's a little bit more expensive, but since we already recommend you downsize to a shelter of this size, you're still gonna come out ahead. Like it's gonna be more affordable compared to a normal house.
Yeah,
so
go small.
It'll still be very affordable.
And this is what people don't factor in. When you're using non-toxic elements, how much are you saving in medical bills 2 decades down the road? No one does that math, and we all should be.
Right.
It's like, for the food we buy, are we factoring in medical bills? Are we factoring in future chemo treatments? That sounds grim, but it's true. The shells, the homes we're in have a huge impact. So spray foam, off gases, fiberglass, you still need a mask set up.
Yeah.
What we used here for this cabin, this micro cabin, was about just under $1,000 worth of insulation. For a small home like this, that's really not bad. And especially because my baby boys are gonna be playing in this.
Right.
We want it to be safe.
Right, so 200 square feet, it was $1,000 for all 4 walls and the roof.
And the ceiling, yeah.
Yeah, the ceiling.
It's not even 11 o'clock and we're over halfway done. All the walls are insulated. Now we just have to insulate the ceiling, which will take a little bit more finesse with a step ladder and then our stapler.
And we got lucky because these slabs of insulation are 45 inches across, and between the beams on the roof, it's 22 inches. So basically we just have to cut those in half and then we can just
Yeah, cut them in half like 1,000 times.
My knuckles are a little bit raw after cutting all that wool.
Since we're putting it into the roof, all the stuff is falling into our eyes. So now we look pretty snazzy.
Oh yeah.
Well, he looks like really smart. These are my wife's, so I probably just look, I don't know, a little less manly today.
The wool's compostable. It's really not that much more expensive. It's actually cheaper than some types of insulation. Every time we create a new man-made synthetic, it's like, oh, it's safe, until they do the studies in 10 years. Oh, it's not. And there's a class action lawsuit, and you end up seeing a commercial at, late night TV. It's like, do you suffer from mesothelioma? Well, you too can get money from this class action lawsuit.
Right. I feel like there's a common pattern when people want to use something that's more natural, more organic, even with food. It's always a markup in price. Even with this wool, it's more expensive. Why is it more expensive?
It's not used more. Economies of scale make things cheaper.
Right, okay.
So there's a lack of awareness for sheep's wool. The number of sheep farmed and raised in the US has been declining over the years because as a people, Americans are not too hot on lamb or mutton.
Oh, so because I guess the biggest purpose of having a sheep is first for its meat.
Yeah.
And then a secondary, it's the wool.
That's right.
So if a nation is not big into the meat itself, you're just not going to see much wool because there's not many sheep in the area.
Right, not on site. Now this wool comes from New Zealand. They've got sheep out of their ears. They've got a climate similar to England, Ireland, temperate. Because international shipping is still so cheap, it costs more for the trucks to bring this to us here from Nevada than it cost for that wool to go across the ocean, the Pacific, in a container.
Really?
Yeah. So ocean-going shipping is dirt cheap compared to trucking.
How much did we pay for shipping for this?
We paid a little over $500 to ship this from Reno, Nevada to here.
And I'll throw up that shot again where it shows it coming in on our truck. Now, we had picked it up from
a semi.
A semi.
Shipping by water costs a fraction of what shipping by rail is. Shipping by rail is a fraction of what shipping by truck is. We don't have the same cleaning facilities here in the US yet. I would love to see products like this catch on more.
Yeah.
Hemp insulation is promising. Wool insulation is my favorite I've used so far.
Yeah.
For the tiny house project a while back, we used denim insulation.
Denim, just jeans.
Recycled blue jeans, basically.
Oh, literally recycled jeans.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Recycled jeans.
It only took us, would y'all say collectively, it took the three of us 1:45 to 2 hours if you cut out when we went and got coffee and stuff?
Yeah, I'd say 2 to 3 hours max. Yeah, it's been a blast so far. Hoping other people can see this is possible.
Yeah, and our off-grid course is still 50% off. So if you're interested in learning about all of these systems in depth, learning about zoning, financing, everything that has to do with off-grid living, check out the course. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode, and we'll get the next one out pretty soon.
Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Sheep's wool.